Hey everybody, Anjali this side. Today I'm back with a topic in continuation of the cameras video. We'll be discussing photography today. So let's discuss the exposure triangle first. Exposure basically is your aperture plus ISO plus your shutter speed. We'll be discussing all these terms later. Yes. First, we have the frame rate, which is FPS. It is basically the number of frames that occur per second. There are different criterias, like general criterias that you use. So in the normal and cinematic one, 24 FPS is the standard. In the live TV and web content, 30 FPS is. And if you need to use fast action, or if you want to record in slow-mo, use 60 or 120 FPS. Next we have ISO. ISO is basically the fake light, how light or dark your picture is, that is your ISO. One thing that we have to keep in mind with ISO is that if you boost it, a lot of noise or grain will come in your picture or video. In photos it will look okay, it will give you like a very vintage effect, but in videos it will look like TV static. So we have to make sure that the ISO is not too high, and we have to try to keep it under 1000. Next we have the shutter speed. It is the time taken by the shutter to open and close to take one image. Just like ISO affects noise or grain, shutter speed affects motion blur. Motion blur is like the motion lines that you see. If you have like a very slow-mo video, more motion lines can give you a dreamy effect. However, in fast action, it is more clearer, the motion lines are less, and it gives you a action effect. If you have a slow shutter speed, that means that your shutter is opening for longer and it is sensing more light, and a brighter pic or video is formed because it is able to capture more light. In case you're not able to understand how it is capturing the light and everything, do check out the camera's video. I will link it in the description box. That way it will be more clearer. And if you have a fast speed of the shutter, then it will open for a shorter duration. It will sense less light, and a darker pic or video will be formed because less light will be captured. So there's one rule to it, that it is always the double of what your frame rate or your FPS is, and also it's in tens, so you have to choose the closest. For example, if your FPS is 24, so your shutter speed cannot be 1/48, but it will be 1/50, because firstly it is double, so that is 48, but because it's in tens, it will go to 1/50. Okay. Next we have the aperture, which is the f-stop. It regulates how much light will be entering. Okay. It affects the depth of field, like your noise or grain or your motion blur is there. Just like that, aperture affects the depth of field, DOF. Depth of field is the background blurriness, or how focused your subject is. If it is a shallow depth of field, then you will have a less sharper image and the background will be blurrier. But if you have a deep depth of field, your image, it will be sharper and your background will be less blur. Okay, so people get very confused in this, so I've written all the terms together. So if you have like a larger aperture, that means your aperture, your blades will be more open, they'll be more wider, so more light will enter and a shallow depth of field will be created. And the smaller or lower your f number or your aperture will be. If you have a smaller, narrower or higher aperture, that means that your blades are less opened, or they are more closed. They are basically narrow, so less light will enter and a deep depth of field will be created. Depth of field is also affected by focusing and refocusing your subject. It also depends on how far or near the subject is from the camera, the distance, and the focal length of what lens is there in your camera. Next, we have this ND filter, which is called the neutral density filter. It allows us to open the lens all the way, even in very bright situations, and not make the frame look very bright. Okay, So like if you for example are shooting on a very sunny day and you want to open your lens a lot, but you don't want your frame to look very very bright, you can use this ND filter. Next we have the white balance, the WP. It tells the camera what pure white is. So it sets the color according to which it makes the image very blue or very green or very yellow. So like you must have seen that some pictures they look very grey, or some pictures they look very yellow, or some pictures they look very green or blue, they look very cool or they look very warm. So that's due to the white balance settings. In auto X settings, the camera sets the white color according to itself, but it can fluctuate throughout the video, so your colors might get fluctuated throughout the video. You can fix it using either the temperature settings in kelvins, or you can get a gray card. So in different cameras a gray card will be used differently. For example, in one camera you can just ask the subject to hold your gray card and bring your camera over it, and in the custom white balance setting. But in some cameras you also have to take the photo of the gray card filling the whole frame, and then in the custom white balance you have to select the latest photo as the white balance. So this was it for the photography video. As a summary, exposure, your exposure is affected if when you combine the aperture, ISO and shutter speed. So when all these settings will be perfect, then you will get your perfect exposure, that how bright or how dark do you want your image or the video to be. So this was it for the photography video. I'll be bringing up more videos soon, and do like it, do subscribe it, share it with somebody you think will need it, and yes.